Alrighty then. Just going to start off here with the the market again. We did a huge engulf on the euro dollar after we plunged in to fill the void we left behind. We could have put a hedge on in Asia. I say the 80% winning strategy is to put a hedge on in Asia. It's 80% if you properly size the kind of like estimated expansion of the next price pulse, like how big is the next move going to be. So that is the criteria for that. What do you suspect the move's going to be like? So somebody was commenting on this thing on my latest video and said that I guess I always make these comments like the broker. People say the broker's against me in this. Well, it's kind of a pecking order. If you're a retail trader, you're coming in. You don't have any other assets that you're offsetting, say the swap or the bad spreads that happen. Unless you're arbitraging and taking advantage of the floating spreads, then if you put on a symmetrical hedge, 1 for 1, boom, you hit the trigger. But even at that, the first ticket that comes in, unless they simultaneously hit the server, in a sense, you're locking in a possible loss, because if you buy and sell, so if you buy and sell, hit the market, this is a completely different hedge than if you say, well, I'm going to put on a small hedge. And this another thing, I guess, said small hedge, and I didn't know what that meant. Like, some people consider a hedge is that you're going to go slightly against your position. So you're kind of like 20% long, but you don't want to let go of the other trades, because now you're going to buy the commission and the spread again. At some point, you got to have a softer throttle than just an on and off switch. I'm in the market, I'm out. I watched somebody mentioned ICT on Twitter, that there was a guy named Dollar Fire. I don't know if that's his real trading room. It looks pretty like he might be on some drugs or some kind of stimulant. I'm like, wow. I don't know if you need all that work. I mean, it looks like that you're going to attack the market. You're going to like be in a cockpit with all this shit, but you can only focus on one thing at a time. Another thing Bill Williams says is he's a psychologist, so he's saying is that you can really only focus on one thing at a time. And to play it's fun to play the let's build the indicator bot, but in the end, you're really building a utopian view of you want the market to fit such a specific scenario that it's just not always available to have these wonderful who doesn't want to get in on the end of wave 4 so big, because it's been consolidating for so long that the explosion out of that will be bigger than any move that you're going to get out of. Well, but then it depends, because if you go down to the 1 hour chart and the market just keeps churning straight up for 12 hours, which it could, it's going to have some drifts in there. But there are clean moves, but the cause of a clean move is unclean moves that stack up and eventually create a natural flow, and it just starts to feed on itself into the void. And once you satisfy that, so last night when this came pulling back, when the euro came pulling back and went deep, I said I would buy more, and I did. So I loaded up down here. I should have put more hedges on, which these are only about 8 here, but this is 16K. Actually, it's 32K possible fill on both legs if I double click each one of those. So if I put in that rack of hedges twice. Also, you're going to be underwater on the hedge, because if they do fill both legs until they kick you out of your stop that you chose, and I choose all different stops, I never choose the same stop twice, because then what's the point of putting in a 1K? Just put a fucking 2K in and don't change the stop. And then if you're going to buy at the market with a 10 pip stop, I've got my scalp. Oh, these are all just buys, so it's just easier to keep track. I got 5 to make 12. All of this, I should have 9 actually, 10, 11, 12, but this is where it becomes a lot of work to say, okay, am I going to write this? There's 200 between a stop of 9 to 28 and changing your take profit every 10 pips. That's about 100 fucking individual market orders. 100K, never repeating 1K. And you could click them all, or you could just, I'll take a little here or there. So what I'm doing is I'm just gathering up areas in the market. The trick is to trade against yourself. Okay, so the idea that the broker is trading against you, it's impossible unless he's... Okay, you could just open a demo and a real account with them, look at both, or have another broker, or just do arbitrage. If they are really going against you, you can... If you're making more money from the swap on this one because you got this... taking advantage of the discrepancy in price. That's what you're always doing. But on the chart, you get the idea that, oh, look at this 1 hour, look at this 30-minute chart. Oh, I get what's going on here. But every twist and turn on this chart, there's a trade there. All you need to do is have criteria for each bar. I've always thought that, I'll wait for this pattern, but in the meantime, the market's not going anywhere here. So we're either going to have to not touch it because we're waiting for limits to fill down deep that we know that is also a high probability trade plan. It works every time. The amount of working though is in a gradation. It's not binary, like it works or it doesn't work. It all fucking works. And you could even trade like no nonsense, but I don't think you'd want to trade everything in your whole portfolio with the same strategy, because then even if it does win, what is the frequency of trading? People say, I got this thing's fucking made a ton of money. Dude, it did 8 trades in 10 years. How big was it in? It must have loaded the fucking wagon, and if that's the case, it must have had some type of like brutal, commission or brutal, you must have went underwater. If you're in that big and the markets actually do fluctuate every day, how in the fuck are you going to get around the problem of being in a large single position and watching your equities smash up and down when you've never had that much money in your fucking life? So psychologically, if you've never... I made 40. If you made $40,000 in a month, say, and you've only made like $10,000 in a month your whole life, but 1 month you made $40,000, which is so easy to do. Look, go watch Samurai Forex. Go watch Suli. Go watch this guy that I haven't got to yet that made fucking 30, supposedly real money. Of course, there's fake. I don't know if this is this Dollar Fire guy, but he did a thing on the fake MT4s. And of course, if you can fucking hack in the goddamn Pentagon, I'm sure some guy can have a fucking... And it was some wackadoodle broker name that I've never heard in my life. Like Butterfly Forex or something. I don't know what. And there's all sorts of really tight spread. If you're trading like really low commissions, zero spread, just insane. If you go to where the data's coming in without any hesitation. This is another thing. People think the broker's ripping them off. Dude, they're servers. They don't have, there's times here if I pull the trigger on the euro, I'm not going to get filled. If it's Bitcoin and nobody's trading on that one broker's platform, you're not in some giant pool. The banks can't see your stops. You're in a little, you're whatever the people in that one broker are in. Sure, if you've got like $1 million and you're trading, the percentage of an institution is like almost a buck for a buck. How are you going to blow up the fucking account? You're fucking retarded to blow that up. There's a whole difference between a giant, it's like ocean compared to like an eyedropper water. The behavior is not the same. These fucking mosquitoes can land on the water, but you can't land a car on the water and sit, the surface tension can't handle it. And besides, anybody that's trading retail has, they may be overpaying because of the spread and the commissions and the swap. This is like any other fucking business. You got to overcome the remakes, the failures, you got to overcome that, right? So you got to overcome all the type of new nonsense, like you're getting a bill every month, and this month only has like 28 days. You're like, wow, that was a part of your brain realizes it's not a linear. The calendars are fucked up. Let's face it. So people are like, oh, Jesus, what the fuck? Already got to owe that bill again? Then so people are living actually month to month's the way to go in case you die next month. And so I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it comes down to lifestyle is what I'm saying. Like, if you're looking at this Asian session as an opportunity to get involved, as they would say it, in power trading in a position, or to plot out, if you're going to go to sleep, plot out what you suspect is going to happen. You're not going to be there for it, and you've seen this story before. It's just like a classic, bad story. And maybe you would think that the broker's trading against you because the minute you put on the trade, but the way to verify that is get 3 brokers, watch the demos, get 3 brokers with real accounts. You don't have to put money in them. Of course they do. I will tell you this one broker, as soon as you put money in the account totally different behavior. Okay? That is true. That they slowed down my account, and I know that for a fact because I opened a fresh account. I'm dropping the scripts. They're coming in. Limits are coming in on my platform like blistering fast. The server's out of New York City, so boom. And then all of a sudden, I put like $100 in the account. Now these orders are coming in creeper gear. And, but you could make a lot of money with these people once you got your orders in there. Of course, they won't come in that slow, but compared to the blistering speed of it's almost like I was on demo mode until the money hit the account. And now it's a real account. So there's that. Yeah, these are all obstacles. Can't think of another business. I mean, even if you've got this, you own a store. These people are charging you rent. Then you got the fucking, all of a sudden, you got to pay some tax for this, the sidewalk tax, whatever have you. Those are all going to be bad news, Nobody wants that. So I'm using my secret weapon tonight. It's by 2 pips. I rewrote the script to come in like every 1.5 pips or every 3/4 of a pip. I'm buying for 8 hours in Asia now. Now this, I got 2 8-hour ones that cover up to 18 pips deep, but these are really just for the Eurodollar because if you try this on other currencies, it probably worked pretty good on the Swiss franc. Anything that trades less intensely volatile, then I'm sure there's a pecking order out there. I'm sure you could go to some website that's going to give you the volatility per day, per bar and then you can just fit, okay, I got a 20 pip stop. What can I do with a 20 pip stop? Well, not a lot in the guppy unless you're going to sit there on the 1-hour chart and just pluck off because the market's going to keep retesting that area so you can see, that would have worked. That trade would have worked great a few times in a row. On this 1-hour chart here, this is the half-hour chart. We got a perfect top become a bottom on closing prices here. So last night we fall out of bed here. If you're dropping, sell stop, buy stop, and you're getting trapped in some, you're already getting kind of a bad fill, but you're kind of getting whipsawed. You still could have made the 25 pips last night on the crush into this obvious hole where we laid down orders, and then I kept buying it. When I started the video last night, I was buying into that. I said every 50 minutes I'd buy. So I bought every half hour this dropped, and I kept putting in the limits in front. Now, if I wanted to do a more precision entry, I would have noticed, of course, this half hour, obviously, and this is the ultimate where you're going to trade, like if you only want to trade like 5 tickets, right? You don't want to be doing all this shit. This is the key. This low. I don't know if you think this is an ICT breaker doc or something, but this is critical. A 1 hour deep discount that's going back 2 hours. That's right, half hour bars. It's like 2.5 hours here, right? From here to here, 5 period. In RSI terms, as far as I'm concerned, this one down. Okay, if you have a trade plan for the half hour chart, that if it's down just like that exact amount, you have a trade plan for that. When it's down like this, now you buy at the market here. Maybe they stopped you out, but there's no way you can say that the small up move has the higher. It says in most people's terms that they use when they're teaching forex, they say stuff like, "Well, who's in control?" Yeah, but how in control are they? Barely able to push it up. Bulls push it up into this last known bottom. The half hour cycle drama. Now it's a buy. So I'm going to buy at the market. Right, obviously, it's a buy now. We just dipped into this window. Whether or not it is going to keep dipping, we don't know. So we're just going to buy because it is 10:45 p.m. So here's where I'm going to get in heavy now. I was in about $1,500 of margin last night as we plunged into this abyss. And everything below here, insane buying. Then we rip up here. The sellers come at this bottom. Okay, let me just run through. I'm going to have to hurry buy this before it takes off on me. That's why I wrote all these, because now I can just come in like this and go, oh yeah, that's it. It ain't taking no more. Now I can get into at least $500 of margin, take my 10, 12, 14, 22, 7 pips. And we can make like $30 here. I want to get into another $80 of margin. So I'll put some real 12 to make 95. Now this is almost a 100 pip winner and just on this one ticket. Now I can do a 10K of that right now, layer on top of the other shit. And these are, I'm only risking $1.50 at worst, $1.80 here on this. This is now on a broker that has a 5 pip spread on their instrument. This is a 20 pip stop. I know it says 15, it's 20. As soon as you buy it, I'm sorry, it's 10 pip stop. It's worse, right? Because as soon as you buy it, if you have a 15 pip stop and the spread's 5, the broker's kind of working against you. But they're getting fucked on their liquidity. They're paying a spread. They're just passing on the savings to you. Don't take it to heart. Just trade the euro dollar anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world, man. It's the tightest fucking spread. Or how about dollar yen? It's the tightest fucking spread. Now you can move on to but this is where no nonsense doesn't get it. The reason why he sees dramatic moves that look all tradable is because the spread's so fucking wide on the Singapore dollar that, yeah, look at the chart. It's triggering your indicators. But the spread's kicking your ass. But he's not scalping. Oh, see, I'm at $4 a margin. I'm going to sit tight. And now I'm going to come in with my secret weapon, which is to buy 2 pips deep. You can barely see it coming in here. All right, so it's almost 11 o'clock at night. I'm expecting, go figure, I'm bullish. So, but that's all right. I get tight stops. I can risk it. But I have just such a smooth stop that even last night, very, kind of like losing half my investment, so to speak. I went from $1,500 margin to $700, and when I woke up at about 3 o'clock in the morning, saw it plunging into this area, I thought, yeah, I if you have some 618 stuff down there, which you probably could have got a 618 out of this pullback. It was pretty deep, depending where you start your fibs, right? I recommend the Robinacci, though. It's on the menu. Forex restaurant. I'll have a Robinacci with a side of Gartley, please. Look at this thing come back and crush these poor guys. That was a previous drama. So this happens again and again, these insane pullbacks. This one just so happened to be nice and smooth, and even the stop bots won. They cancel replays, got, and every time you cancel replays, you increase the size of the ticket. This is the other martingale system, is that as this comes down and compresses, here another one, cancel replays, double the size. Because as soon as they trip it, now here it's going to be very tight stops and you're trapped. But if you're hedging here, such a small baby move, sell. Sell a little bit, buy a little bit, sell a little bit. You're kind of a winning hedge, and then finally they trip into, you're either going to lose one leg or the other, so you lose the long side, but the sell side, the expansion out of here is good enough that hopefully you've kind of made money along the way. So now this is the last range before the crash, and this ratio is better than this whole area here. So the last part of that, as you keep on building your hedge, it spills out. Now you're talking about a ratio of this to make this, and now you're 3-to-1 ratios, and even with the swap and spread problems. Okay, so the other thing is, were you buying at the market when this plunged, and did you have a half-hour bot, which I guess would be my dream bot, because it's pretty smooth data that he has a buy stop here and a sell stop here, and he rides that last gust, and as soon as the ATRs pick up per bar, the true range per bar, he's skidding out, or the limit bots start to run limits out in front. So this big move here triggers the limit bots to start laying track of sell limits out in front of that are higher than normal, because this is a higher than normal move based on the last move. Then here's the perfect top become a bottom right here as you get that nice last crush. So I dump everything here. I went flat. So when I came into the end of today, all I had to do was say, you know what? I'm going to buy a little bit. I should still be in this fucking thing. And I'm going to put limits in. So this whole time, and here was the trap. Here's what people would say is the fake breakout. Trap you a little bit, pull it back. Now they're going to play trap the weasel. The trap the weasel game here is in such a broader up and down. It's a larger range. The trick is to have your script match what's going on, literally as close as you can, within 10%. So if the market is moving up and down 20 pips and you've got 30 pip stops, and you can withstand not having to get kicked out of a perfectly good trade on a little trade by trade basis. So it's an incremental situation. You're never going to feel the blow of, you might bleed the account, but you're not going to blow it up. To blow it up kind of makes you think about like a huge explosion. If you bleed the account, yeah, I guess you could say I blew up the account. On the last day that it was zeroed out or whatever you consider to be not enough money to trade, yeah, you'd say, oh, but did you dent the account? If you put $1,000 in there and you're down to 800, at what point do you go, wow, I gotta fucking rethink this? Of course, I'm down $200 on the week. When you start trading, I guess most people, for me, I would have to say that I was like, wow, this is like unfucking believable. And so it's a little bit, kind of, especially in the beginning, because who was doing this? Who really had the liquidity? Who had the conversion to do it? You had to go through special sites and get the thing to the here, and then you're looking at that and you're like, okay, and it's on your phone. Are you kidding me? Trading on your phone? That was a dream for people 40 years ago. You're trading on your phone. The iMarkets Live people trading on their phone. It's so cute. Here, I'm going to buy more of this thing. I'm not in big enough, so I'm going to get to the $500 margin requirement here. So I'm going to go for my 18 pip stops now. I usually put on 2K, so I guess I'm kind of not doing what I say because I'm actually going, I want this right now. I'm just going to get in nearly at the same price. I'm not trying to, I'm using the fact that I have different targets to say, oh, it's okay to just click the fuck out of this because what it's going to be slightly different fill on the 1 minute chart, which ICT's on some fucking 1 minute chart trading like 8 standard lots. This thing, he speeds up the film and he's got all these comments and they're like, yeah, I think I should go the other way. I'm like, this is your mentorship? Yeah, I think you should hook up with the fucking Alpari guy who's, at least he's got a grin on his face. So here, you can see it looks like I'm chasing it, like I'm a fucking idiot. On the 1 minute chart, this is a double bottom becoming a top right now. Should I buy more at this price? Probably not. So I'm going to double click the, I'm going to buy, it's like 1 pip deep here. I could also wait. Another thing is, if you frantically double click that, it's, I guess, the fear of missing out in some regard because now you're saying, fuck, man, the train's leaving the station, but it is, and it's probably going to pull back a half a pip, so I'm going to wait here. On the 1 minute chart, the other thing about the 1 minute chart, you're like, fuck, it's a sell on the 1 minute chart. Why am I buying? There's always a contradiction when you change time frames. It's always going to be like, wait a minute. It looks so good on the daily chart, and now I'm fucking... This is the empowered trading, how I think empowered trading people just lose their mind. Like, well, let's do a drill down. We'll start on the monthlies, and we'll get down to where we're going to enter the market. Dude, if the market's open, and unless this is the weekend, and the market's open on the 1 minute chart, you should be able to look at that 1 minute chart and go, what I even get in this fucking thing? And what am I thinking? Jesus Christ. In the 4 hour context, certainly that is a major giant move. But how many 1 minute bars are there inside of the 4 hour chart? What's the math? 240, right? There's 240 bars in a 4 hour chart, 240 1 minute bars. So the 1 minute chart is a completely different story. And I would wait here for one more pullback because 1 minute charts, like you only got to wait another minute. So if you have the 4 hour chart, you have the 1 minute chart. Now this is really zoomed in. Like this, you really can see that the 4 hour chart looks like the market's closed if you don't change the scale and stretch it out so you can see the spread the way you can see the spread right here. And look at the spread go tight, wide. Look how it gets wide right now. Okay? Because it's about to, it pulled back. Now the spread widens. This dynamic is just the way it is. It'll, if you stare at it and you have the tick chart, which I don't have it up here, but if you have the tick chart, the 1 minute chart, you got the 4 hour chart, you got the maybe the monthly chart printed out. I don't think the monthly chart's going to go moving. You can write those numbers down and know what the high of the month is. I'm assuming, So all these things, and I see this pullback here in the 1 minute, I could have pulled the trigger. I could have said, you know what, it pulled back, let's fucking get in. It looks, but I'm in. I'm going to let it go. And maybe I'm going to run trailing limits. So last night what I did was after we came screaming back, I did suspect there was going to be one more harsh shakeout, as they call it. And sure enough, so this big move, it goes screaming up, and there was this pullback here. This is the breakout pullback confirmation trade that everybody probably, it was pretty obvious, I assume, to anybody that could see that they took out the high of the day, which that was my target also, was to go shearing through these highs and just go flat there at that moment. Now I'm going to chase it because it looks great on the fucking half hour. So the half hour chart, you can't deny this structure here. The 1 minute chart, you're lost in so many tops, bottoms, turnaround, blah, blah. Here it's like, no, come on. They just stop hunted this guy that has a stop here. That one guy. You're trading against one guy. Think of it that way instead of trading against the banks. You're trading against the guy that has the other trade plan that you do. Obviously, you should agree on the trade. Yeah, I guess I put my stop in too tight. But, I got to like, and it's 1 minute to the top of the hour. So I'm going to get in here like an idiot. Like, I don't want to say an idiot, but I'm going to chase it a little bit here. Get out of drawing mode. I want to get into $500 of margin before the top of the hour, even if they pull it back. I'm also going to put in the 2-pip limits. I'm assuming I'm getting kind of trapped here right at the top of the hour. Like, it could just really get nutty. So take a look at the 1 minute chart right here at the top of the hour. That's always interesting. You can some serious harsh pullback now possible. There you go. There's top of the hour. Okay, so I'm in $450. I'm going to go lighter than normal. And I got limits galore down here, so I'm going to add in, every time I double click this, I'm putting in a 3K. About 3K of limits. 8 hours. So that's a really low maintenance trading system, although it's riskier than dropping orders that last 3 hours and coming back and looking at the market and going, should I do that? Should I do that pending order again at 2 hours? And this is when you're going to start to say, you know what? I'm just going to put a 12-hour limit bank in and walk away because it doesn't fucking matter. Or you're going to hand place 12-hour orders because to hand place a 12-hour order, it's worth it. It's a 12-hour order. It's going to last 12 hours. You're not planting stuff that's you're not going to put that much work into placing stuff that only lasts a half an hour. You should have a better gauge of what a high and low is, and all you have to do is go to the daily chart and look for the wicks. If you can't see the end of the wick, then that's a problem, because that's all that really matters. From the person that wants to trade 4 trades a week, or 4 trade zones, 4 fill, like you know what's going to happen typically. So here, I'm going to hold this, even though I think it's going up now. I'm not going to add, so I guess this is called discipline. Alrighty then. So here, we're just going to watch this go up, and I do think that this is the looming vacuum now, is this here. This has been filled. This is the double bottom. We were supposed to see sellers come in. They did. Then they took it up. This 1 minute chart comes down. Now, it's either going to spill out and start going for fresh territory come after this guy's stop, or liquidity, bank liquidity, as ICT would say. Whatever you want to call it, it's definitely a hole. If there's a hole, something's going in it. If that gets to there, and then it could come ripping below here later. There's nothing preventing it from coming up here, grabbing these people that decide to go long here. I guess I'm always describing who's getting destroyed by getting in one position against. Well, it's only going against on maybe for 2 hours or 2 days. So it's how long can you go underwater? How much punishment can you take? See, now the market's not even open. The broker's not sending me any data, but I guarantee you on another broker right now, they're trading. So this broker has not changed price. Now they just did. But it's Asia. You expect that. But that's just, this is the thing of like, oh, I spent so much money. Yeah, everybody's having to endure the price of palladium. Whatever or the price of gas if you're driving a car, you own a cab company or something, and all of a sudden, gas is fucking outrageous. Or they decide to outlaw flavored beer because the kids are fucking getting hammered. And what's with these vapors? Are they just like, they hooked the vape to an app and the app got out of control? There was a bug in the app, and it looks like we're going to go up here. So on the 1 minute chart, I'm just going to hold. Although I should buy. Every minute I could buy, it goes down. There's nothing. Every minute's down a little bit, pull the trigger. Jesus, before you know it, you're in an 8K, I mean, I double clicked the shit out of this. Boom, 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 boom. But I was trying to lock it in before we get into the vacuum. I don't want to have I have no confirmation on this other than, I mean, I have no buy stop entries on this. It's all limits and market orders because that's the, if I'm running tight stops on the market orders, tight and wide, I don't want to overpay because I'm already spread my risk into different stops, and I got the limits that's super tight. I just want to get a good price if I'm going to buy. Um, but if I'm gonna go to sleep in Asia, or if I'm not going to be around to, or whenever the market tightens up, it's okay to put on the confirmation entry because that trade's designed to make money from the clean breakout. But you don't always get a clean breakout, so the trade-off is that you might get trapped in these breakout strategies to some degree, but hopefully you don't have just two tickets and a buy and a sell. And you keep getting kicked out, and you have to keep getting back in. And so, it's about the rate of change. If it just went up 300 pips, it's totally different if it did it in 5 minutes as opposed to 5 hours. And really, where's it going? Like, why is it going so quick? I think to know why the market's doing what it's doing, I think helps because then you can see, oh, it looks like it's going to do that again because of the pent up demand or supply or the lack or this kind of like congestion, and then it has to break away. It just can't hold steady like that. Something's going to come into the picture, whether it's bad weather, hurricane. There's always some kind of chaos in the world that's going to tip into the window, and then like stock market sells off. These things happen. I mean, the euro could go screaming up now, and people say, "What in the fuck?" Yeah, but if you're looking at the weekly charts and you're looking in that deep hole, yeah, you're riding it. It doesn't mean you could get on some of these trains because you'd just be totally obliterated by the fact you're in so big you can't do it. Like look at the monthly euro dollar. So you're buying here, but could you pull back? I mean, you can't. It's hard to believe you're buying here for any kind of long term because on the monthly chart you're like, I don't know, man. This is like the first bounce. Should we be getting it? Should we wait for a retest? It's pretty amazing. Look at where we're at though. We're 200 pips below this monthly low here, which to my system, that is the breaker. That's the crusher. This 25 pip window here where we come down, hit this 2-year low, and just come ripping back out of that. Who's not buying here? Wow. To make 100 pips to here. You already know your exits here. If you buy here, you're getting out here. First high probability trade. You just made 50 pips here. If you go to the weekly chart and zoom out so you can see the deep discount basement here. Unfortunately, you got to zoom out. So we never made it to this wick at the 50-yard line, just below the 50. Pretty fucking close. But we did go below here, and this trade is now up 20 pips. If you could handle trading with a 70 pip stop this week, you could trade that reversal. You could also trade this reversal. As soon as we go below here, if you are a willing buyer and you gobble up this with a 100 pip stop, you can make 100 pips. That's a weekly chart, so this I would buy very heavy here, new lows. And there you're making about 50 pips with a 25 pip stop. I'm a little too zoomed out. Now this is why all these trade plans are pip dependent. So you could say, well, this zigzag looks just like this is a baby version. Yeah, this is a 200 pip zigzag, and this is a 100 pip zigzag. Big difference. It is if you're going to trade with hard stops, just like, oh, I trade with a 100 pip stop, as opposed to I risk 1% of my account. It's completely different. It's just to find the trade, to find where you can do a 100 pip strategy. The strategy is pip orientated. So people say, what's your strategy? Okay, my strategy is trading with a 200 pip stop to make 400 pips, say. Or my strategy is using 18 pip stops to make 28 pips. Or there's a bunch of strategies. Okay, so I think that I feel like I want to buy more, so I'm going to go to rationalize it. I'm going to go to the 5-minute chart because it's 10 minutes after the hour. So see how ridiculous we just went from the weekly. Now we go to the 5-minute. We got to stretch back so we can see where we're at in the landscape of the minutia. Yes, so the minutia, the noise of it all here. Okay, so we're at the threshold, right at the line of scrimmage. This is the moment of truth. I'm going to buy more. It looks good. I'm going to go to that 500 level. I'm just going to 60 pips. Here I'm going to get ungreedy. I'm going to risk 12 to make 14, and then I'm going to get some scalps going. Super tight. 5 to make 12. 5 pip stops. All right. 10 minutes after the... that's almost... Okay, there's $500. Boom. $500 invested. We're at 6,500. We're trying to make it to 7,000 by London Open. Okay, so here we go. This is the double bottom on the 1 minute. We need to reject this floor. This has to be a trap for the bears in Asia right now for us to make money because I'm going long. These are all market orders here, and then some of these are limits that did fill on the shallow. I have it's a half a pip deep for 8 hours waiting here to get filled. And we have to get above this. We could still slam down. Then we got to hunt down these bears, take that out. And my first cash out's here. All the way up. So I'll be selling into the new highs, scaling out, and hopefully pick up 500. That'll put us at $7,000. I could also go trade the other currency pairs. So I could go and say, oh, you know what? Here, let's put some limits in on the, what do you figure dollar yen's tanking, dollar Swiss is tanking, and we all know, without even looking at it, that the pound's probably going up if this... So, when they send you these when the broker gives you the platform, he's got dollar Swiss, dollar yen, euro to the dollar, and pound to the dollar by default because it's a, you got $2 pairs and two European pairs. Pretty simple. Okay, let's take a look as we let that bake. We're down $3 now. This looks poised for a rally. Same story here, but look at the deeper crush. When we were selling off in the euro, this thing's down twice as much. You're buying here, and you load the wagon on that last wick on the 1 hour. You have to put in bigger tickets here than here. And here you can see the scalpers. They grab it, they rip it to the floor. Bam, down. And the trend traders that trade at the market, small up move, sell big with a tight stop. Medium up move, sell not as much, and with a wider stop to keep the same dollar risk per trade. It's down big. Get in a light with a wide stop, and when it's down a little bit, get in heavier with a tighter stop. Relatively speaking, of course. Like this. Here's a top. You come at bottom of 1 hour. You come in. You get in pretty heavy here. You can make a nice 25 pips. Boom, you're out. Come back, retest. Blow these guys out on the or the rinse and repeat people are getting in here. Obviously, this is the trade. It's even a deeper discount, and it takes out that. So you're buying more here than you're buying here at the market. Comes down. These are sloppy trades. Like, so if you bought here at the market 2 hours ago on the British pound, you got in pretty heavy. In other words, you got in a bigger position with a tighter stop. It only makes sense. Because if it's ripping down, you can't get in really big with a tight stop because they stop you up. Besides, you got to be aware of this hunt. This is just such a... You don't have to be here for this trade. This is the best trades in the world. Okay. This. So easy. Come on. How hard can this be? You need to put sells here, here, here. You're going to sell more here, but you never got filled. That's why you're going to sell here. But when it gets to this one, which is a deeper price than this, you have to sell more. It's just the rules of the road because that's where the liquidity, or whatever you want to call it, the void, where all these orders are sitting, and people also could be freaking out. Let's hope not. All the knee-jerk liberals are selling into this thing, I guess. Sell, 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 sell. What the fuck just happened? Goddamn, we got to tax the forex market. You're manipulating. We're up $3.08, man. Okay, looks like the pound's going to crush the dollar into tonight, and this is the highs of the day. So the pressure's building up on an angle here. It looks like the British pound's just going to clean house, take out yesterday's high, take out this one. They're only a few pips apart. Take out the last week, and then I'd say bye-bye to the dollar. I think in the grand scheme here, everything, the devil's in the details. Everything starts on the 1 hour chart and spills into the larger time frames. It's a drill up as far as I'm concerned. The drill down is kind of ridiculous because what you're saying is, let's look for an opportunity here on the monthly. What do we got here, Jed? I see a retest down here. Okay, dude, you missed the fucking entry down there. Shut up with that. Yeah, as soon as they took out this wick from 2 years ago, everybody's fucking in like crazy on that. Gee, I wonder why it reacted off of that. I think it came in crazy off of this wick. And look at that. Look at that pounding of the pound. Oof. Rips all the way back. That's a hell of a move. When you look at this, you know what you say? Brexit. There's no such thing as Brexit affecting the market. Just because the Dow went down 500 points, people are like, well, that's because... Yeah. Is it really now? I don't see Brexit anywhere on this chart. Well, here's where they were like, here's where they voted. And then this is going back to 2016. The British pound's definitely a deep discount. You could say stuff like, that's double bottom. What the fuck? But then again, don't forget, this could just keep tumbling into this hole here. Just keep tumbling down. Or is it going to come to here? It's going to have a problem here like it did here on the monthly. Look at this unique consolidation. This kind of overshot the runway if you think this bottom became a top. This one, I'm sure it made it on wicks. We got a trend line building up. The volatility certainly dried up on the pound. It's going to get crazy. So if it tanks like this, and whichever way the Brexit vote goes, people will be like, look at it go down because of Brexit. Really? Because Brexit worked or it didn't? I just, the whole word Brexit, the whole thing, it's just, people are basing trades on that? And then somebody asked about this 5%ers thing. And Ryan Brown did. I looked it up. It's called 5%ers prop house. I don't know. I'm just not a prop house guy because I'd rather just play. Like if I'm playing music, I'd probably be a pianist. Because, you know, you got the whole thing. You got percussion, you got the melody, you can play the structures. Okay, I could play with other people, but in the end, I could write the whole song, sing it with my piano. Now, if you want to be in the orchestra, you're in a prop house. I'm just not an orchestra guy. Unless you pay me like, say, $50,000 a month to play the triangle. He doesn't even own a triangle. He's showing up here. Yeah, my dad owns the orchestra. What are you gonna do? But it's all personal taste, man. I mean, if you want the mentorship of this ICT guy, he's got 575 up thumbs on his latest video. Some harebrained video with the worst fucking music I've ever heard in my fucking life. Some synthetic robot shit. What in the fuck? The music that just sucks your soul away. It's like the most unsoulful music that it would even turn a whiter guy whiter. If that's you're invisible. You're so white, you're just invisible. There's no stank. There is no soul. No garlic breath. Nothing. Okay, we move on to the... Looks like the buyers came back into gold here. I think the scalpers have had their fun in the gold market on the weekly basis. They bought here. They gobbled up all the goobers. And even overshot the runway. The trend traders are buying that pullback. Yeah, gold looks like it could... I think the dollar could be in trouble. And it's not because I think gold's worth anything more. It's almost like, is the river rising or the bridge sinking? It's kind of like the dollar, I think, is fucked. They're just printing too much money. And you could also make fundamental arguments that, this discount window, they're just flooding the fucking... They're liquefying the banks, but not in a QE manner. They're just coming in through the discount window and just going, well, here you go. Here you go. So maybe that's what's going on there. Who knows? It makes sense. I see inflation like up the ass. I'm at the store right now and I'm like going, yeah, and it was coming. I'm seeing 10% fucking inflation now, 5% on stuff at the store. And, this battery I just bought the wrong size battery because I thought my unit took the other kind, I walk out of the store. I'm like, I swear it took a 9 volt. I got this fucking brick battery, 9 volt. You can put your tongue on here and probably lose it. $5 fucking bucks. Of course, I only bought one, so I didn't get the 2 battery discount. But it's like so fucking 10-year warranty batteries they have now, which just means it won't last for 10 years. It won't go bad, supposedly. So that's another. God knows. It's bizarre to have a battery for me that's costs like $4 or $5. When I think about the little cat of 9 tails, am I ever ready or whatever have you? Was ever ready? He just silver lasted about 2 minutes. Technology in this battery. Plus, this thing weighs enough. I think I could use it to beat somebody in the head with this if they came in the room. Forensic Files discovered it killed by a 9 volt battery. Yeah, pummeled them. Strap some of these together. Or how about an exploding battery? I was at FedEx one day and this guy comes in with a skateboard and they told him, no, sorry, it's going to blow up. Take that over to UPS. Guy was like, some skateboard guy. Oh, really, man? Like, dude, man, it's kind of harsh. It was funny. I was like, wow, it's so sunny out. It was so nice out. Trying to get rid of his lithium skateboard. So, I don't trade the gold market. And got $50 handles on this chart. Somebody made $100 an ounce on that trade. If they sold the very tippy top of that and wrote it down to here, if you were the guy that did this trade, sold up here, bought it back here, almost made a perfect top become a bottom on that. It could still meander here and it could still come to here. I would definitely buy a ton here. Or you're having to say, well, last week was down, we bought some, and we bought more on limits, and we're just holding, and 1,600. Obvious psychological next target, just for easy math. Talk about easy math. You can even put on a channel here and say, stuff like, well, dude, it's in this channel. What the fuck? It's going to keep going, Sure, the volatility's kind of kicked up here and kind of tortured the channel a little bit, but sure, that's possible too. But don't be back testing this stuff like, you don't want to use this moving average, you got better trades. Yeah, of course. You tighten up the indicators, but now you're going to overtrade it, right? So if you do very fast indicators, very sensitive, then now the side effect or the effect is you're going to overtrade it. And then if you're going to say, well, I'm trading 10 currency pairs and this robot's so good I want to use that on a couple more pairs. Diminishing returns. Maybe you're going to lose 10 to 20% because you engage this other thing that now it's kind of like not doing so good. Or maybe you're a sniper. You're staring at one market. You're like, oh yeah, pull the trigger right now. That's like your hands on the trigger for 8 hours a day or whatever the prime time moving of the market is. Or maybe you're a monthly position trader. You don't even fucking care. Just don't care. You're like, oh yeah, I put this trade on and let's go take a look how that's doing. I used to trade like that. I actually looked in the newspaper. Believe it or not, I had a trade on in soybeans, and I went on vacation to meet my girlfriend's parents down south, and she was. So I was paying attention to her, and we were trying to get alcohol down there. It was very difficult. You had to go different places to gather it up, and it's like third world country down there. So, and here I get the newspaper. I said, hey, you got like a Wall Street Journal around here? Don't you know I'm a commodity trader? And I'm like, look, I'm kind of up on this trade. I had to stop in the market and everything, but I was like, look at that. It's moving a couple of pennies. Now, not realizing, well, I guess I realized it because I'd already lost and won money, but I thought, well, this is kind of, I'm getting good at this. I'm relaxed. I'm not going to sit in front of a monitor. I didn't even have real-time feed. I just had end-of-the-day data. Literally end of the day. And you'd be like, okay. Now, you're forced to that's your only source of data. And you try to build a model, they called it, on that. And you try to model the market and figure what's it going to do and what's a good strategy. And I just didn't know what volatility was really. It's only some markets really kind of go nuts. Drought comes. So the market's limit down, and I'm long, and it's down 15 cents per contract, and that's the limit. And then they halt trading. It's just down, and then next day it's down again, and so you're down 30 cents. That's a lot of money, $3,000, and then I think $6,000 because it was in 2 contracts, and everybody that's going to trade that big, or anything, stocks. Say you buy some stock and you're underwater because you own that item. So fundamentally, oh, this is good stuff. Like Apple computers, you could see that was candy. That was like electronic candy for people. And like, yeah, I'm probably looking from the outside in would go, yeah, people are going to buy that shit. People, for God's sake, it's called Apple. It's not called like shit pile. It's called Apple. Like, isn't that cute? Like the Big Apple in New York. Yeah, the Big Apple. Take a bite out of it. And people love that shit, It's contemporary. It's like, you think Calvin Klein's going to go out of business? But see, that's iconic. That's laid in stone. Now the new stuff that comes along has to compete with that, Or everybody follows in that footsteps. So the people that trade the fundamentals and, oh, look at Brexit. Yeah, I think that the British pound's going to do this because of Brexit. Okay, it might. But what if it doesn't? And what if you don't have to even know that? Because you have such a kind of a clinical view of the market that if it does this, I do that. If it does that, I do this. I don't really care about I don't care about any kind of geopolitics moving the market and trying to position myself ahead of something I think is going to happen and trying to. I'm just saying all the things that I found to be useless because in the end it came down to, gee, do I feel comfortable being up $1,000 or down $1,000 in the next 4 hours? Because I only have the next 4 hours of my life in front of me. All the back testing kind of sets you up for this sense that I'm armed to take on the world when the world is completely never going to be like the past. It's mutating, which is this, for a lot of people that worry about manipulation. It's also the other M word. It's mutating, and you're getting all sorts of weird kind of artifacts from this mutation. This big sell-off in the market is so fast. Buyers are coming in the stock market. It's too fast of a sell-off. When the market drips down, that's when it's a problem. When it starts to just kind of roll over and just start to go down, and people are like, holy fuck. Yeah. The slow death, I think, is worse for me in the trades. I would rather have a vicious smash out. And also, when I see it tanking really quick, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting in with wide stops now. And then people tune themselves to the market behavior. They see this happen, they do that. These are like trade from the gut behavioral traders. Then you have the Poindexters that I want to see the math on that. Can I see the rate of return over the last 5 years? And let's back test that. And there's people just know. They trust in their intuition, right? And they can see, maybe they have intuition and they can see the mechanical trader's view of the world, of the markets, and how they would position themselves. And maybe you do have some maybe people that are holding gold, they would say to you, see now, all that accumulation, and it's true that if you could have locked up what I consider to be margin, you're locking up investments in gold, and you'd say, well, see now. All right, great, but I've already bought and sold 10 guitars and I played them. Whereas you've just held an asset that, yeah, it's a security blanket, but it has a purpose. And people say it's a hedge against inflation. It's just, it's kind of a, how big are you in, and are you ever going to liquidate that, or is it just a feeling of security? So it's a feeling. You're really trading for a feeling in a sense, because if you're still alive and you're not in pain, you're pretty much like successfully winning the game of life because you're not in pain. You have enough, and there's only so much time. Even if you had a million toys, you can only play with one toy at a time. So there really is no kind of fulfillment and all that. Well, for me, I don't, once you have two toys and you go, oh, I get it. And you get bored with both toys, then you have to say, well, now what am I going to do? Should I just try to get more money so I can buy more toys? So, and then you're just kind of chasing, you're still chasing, but then you're just chasing like entertainment or whatever it is. But aren't you just seeking to be at peace and be in like a kind of a tranquility state? That's different than chasing something, even though that's fun. And maybe that's your personality is more comfortable because you like the hunt. And of course, I think it transfers to trading, because usually people are trading a style that's should fit their personality, what they think's okay to do. if you're looking for the confirmation entry, you're probably you kind of see where no nonsense is in the way that he approaches the market. He's so careful. He did some trades. People will lose money trading, and then they'll have that, oh, I better reel it in here. Let's not do that again. And then they find a path that they can get through it. And, casual trading compared to somebody who's really into it. So it's the difference between a guy that plays guitar, like I think I said last night. You go to karaoke, or are you like sitting there and doing, you have like a voice coach and you're trying to sing opera. But yeah, the market is so inconsistent and chaotic. That's why you can't consistently make like a paycheck where you're getting a salary. Even if you work by the hour, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's enough volume in the world for you to work to the full, right up to just below overtime. So if you have some place that says to you, well, we're not busy now. Okay, that's just like the market not being tradable because it's just not moving fast enough for you to really. So there's no consistency, I guess, to anything really, because also the industry that you're in may just be shipped offshore, and now nobody's doing that anymore, and now you have to do this. Or you broke your leg and you can't climb a ladder, so you can't put on roofs. And that's why trading really is the safety net, or if you own some asset, real estate, silver, human trafficking ring, whatever asset that you have as a backup plan. In addition, and then you got your play money, which all this emphasis on risk and forex. Yeah, I mean, people say it's like gambling. Yeah, only because it's fast. The market can move very quickly, and it's open 24 hours. So it's very, like the casinos, I think, are open 24 hours. So it is gambling in the sense that at any moment you want to do it, it's there. I think online gambling, playing cards, I'm pretty sure that was 24 hours. I know the binary option thing, now that is kind of like, I wouldn't trust the broker on binary options, because what is he referencing for the value of that option? Whereas when you're looking at these forex positions, everybody pretty much has the same price on the currency pair. So definitely that was but if you're good at it, I talked to a guy that was good at it, and it only makes sense that if you're good at like knowing when to get in and out, and you're quick, yeah, you make money at that. But then, of course, they outlaw this shit. Because the people that know what the fuck they're doing complain to I don't know how it even happens. They complain to the government, like, I got hurt, this rigged. I mean, I don't know. And it is. There are good and bad places to buy stuff. Nobody wants to go to the airport and buy cigarettes. I mean, what are they, $10 a pack? You're paying because you can't really leave the airport. So I don't think people are like deciding to dine at the airport. I think last time I was in the airport, I said, how much is that muffin? They're like, it's like $6. I'm like, really? Do I get the whole muffin? I mean, the fuck? They weren't like big muffins. I mean, you can pay the whole airport tax and all this stuff. It's rolled in, and of course it is rolled into the broker that's giving you the bad spread. He's rolled the swap in. He's rolled all that stuff in. It's like the hotel tax. Another brutal thing to endure. But anyways, the markets are, just one market alone is just, two markets alone is just really overwhelming if you're going to go from a 1 minute chart to a monthly chart and just really drill in and out and ask yourself, well, is there something here I can do? It's a different thing than putting up 10 instruments. You could have gold, crude, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And so this guy emailed me, talking about he wants to trade, but you don't have to. You can trade a little bit. when people say they want to make, uh, you know, all their money from trading, then there's going to be times where you're not making all your money from trading. You just can't. I mean, you can't win every trade. So you have to make enough money so you have money on the side that you can live off of until you can, the markets are fitting your trade plan. So if you have 50 pip stops and you're like, oh man, I just can't, like it's, you can't force a trade. Like, you shouldn't, because now you're asking for the market to get there by the end of the week to make you this $500 I'm trying to make here. So you're like, oh, come on already, like this thing's, we should be retracing by now. What the fuck happened here? It's you. It takes, as Mark Douglas would say, it takes other people to make you rich in this market. So you're just kind of like in the crowd there. You're really not in control. You can't make the market do what you want. So you have to trade around it. You have to put in the limits and say, you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to wait for the sell-off. I mean, chasing this is ridiculous. And once you have, like, the trade plan that fits the current conditions, then there's nothing you can really improve on that. And so if you have extra time, maybe you're going to go to another project, or you have your gold trade you're up on right now. Maybe you lost 20% in forex, but you're up 40% in gold. You're up 20%. Everybody wants to get better at whatever they're doing, but then at a certain point, you want to coast, because getting better means a little more harder work, more experimentation. So everybody goes, just like the market, you go through the trend phase, you go through the spike, there's the honeymoon phase, there's the consolidation, which I would say that there's kind of an expansion now going on, but there was consolidation, I'd say, up to this point in the world financially, but now it's wave 3 again, or wave 5, coming out of wave 4 consolidation, because you got G5, it's the world's getting small real fast. And you got Trump talking with all these people around the world in front of the public. Never been done before. Everything was so secretive when I was a kid. It's top secret. Just the word top secret. Like, you can't know this. And supposedly that's what they did with the libraries. They're like, sorry, can't read those books. No, it's not going to happen. They don't want the this is why the conspiratorial people exist, because there was a point in time, supposedly, when they were like, no, that's for us to read. You're just a fucking idiot. And people have always resisted that. That's the Brexit, It's like, fuck you. But, all these bitter dinosaur clingers, all the socialist lean on the system, that stuff, the new breed of people are saying, no, I think I'm just going to go my own way, and they're like, fuck you. But that there used to be people who lean on each other because the whole tribe was trying to survive. I think people are just too individualistic now and too selfish, thank God. They care about themselves. But see, the problem is that the politicians, the power, so these politicians that are so power lusty and kind of created their own juggernaut, that they have to keep riding that train. That's their gig. That is their gig. It's like when I saw the band Kiss and I said, really? You got to wear that makeup? I mean, obviously you guys suck at playing. You could just tell the music sucked. And you thought, well, then we're making up for it in costumes. It's a circus. But yeah, the kind of the market's soothing in the sense that it is chaotic. It reminds me of this kid that I was babysitting, and he just kept on doing nonsense in the room, and I thought, God, it's soothing in the weirdest way. I thought it's this kind of random nonsense, which the market is so good at. And having some kind of position in the market here, I feel like I'm engaged in the world. Even though I may just be trading in the broker's sandbox, I'm trading a derivative. I'm trading a part of the system. Right? It's like having it's like clipping coupons. You feel like you're winning. You feel like you have an edge in the world. And that's another reason why people are trading, I suppose, because you feel engaged. Whether you're winning a lot or losing a lot, and of course the idea is to get enough money from it to make it worth your while to even fuck around with it. Sure, you can take if you focus hard enough on just figuring out, okay, this works at this time here, I'll do that, and then oof, I got in too earlier. Oh, oversized that. Okay, you got to keep fine tuning that. And I think it's a bottomless pit of fine tuning. So I wouldn't wait until you have something back tested, because nothing's going to protect you from the psychological feeling of being underwater, being in a loss, holding a loss. The first thing that disturbed me, what I heard, was trying to be a person that is going to follow what I read in the book, is cut your losses short. I thought, well, that's the dumbest shit in the world, because I'm just going to have to. When I added to a loser and I just kept going, that's when I made money. Sure, initially, but even buying at the market at a bad price is a loss. I think they're pulling back here. This is 15 minutes after. Okay, it's 15 minutes before midnight now. So it's pulling back, and they might pull this back all the way down. And I'm buying on limits now. I just picked up a limit order because they're 8-hour tickets. So I just noticed my margin went up. My investment went up to another $14. Now I'm down $84. And the nice thing is now is I could just go to sleep for 2 hours, and I know that I've got orders all the way to 18 pips deep with a 30 pip stop. They last 8 hours. Yeah, it looks like gold's poised for a nice run here to 16. We've been banging up on the floor on the monthly there, so I don't have the data, doesn't go back that far. Also, the only month we pulled back. Plenty of good counter trend trades in here, though, and supposed trend trades if you think you know which direction the overall market's moving. Look at the dollar yen come all the way back to the starting gate, and so no nonsense would never do this trade where we come up on fair value, 4 hours, clean up, sell. Your trend traders are going to buy here, right, with a tight stop, looking for this. This huge down on the 4 hour. I buy back everything I sold. Go long a little bit. I'm getting filled on limits here. The sellers come in for the scalp. Then they try to engulf. They come back to this was the original other support. Now we got to go clean house. Here comes the hedge traders. A little trapped on the north side there. The structured traders had their sell limits here. Then whoosh. I'm buying here. I'm buying more here. And I'm betting the ranch on this. Right, we all see this. It's been here for all this time, waiting to get filled. Boom. Nice bounce here. Now, are we going to come back to here? Or is this just going to come back to here? Weasel around, keep tanking. It's really hard for me to come over here, put on a hedge. I want to see what's going to happen. I'm going to put a hedge on here. If I see it come to here, I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't think it's going down here. That's about all I'm going to get out of that. Put on a hedge here. Look at this. Did very nicely. True range per bar drops down. Very tight. Buy stops, sell stops. We only get filled on the long side. If you have a buy stop here, cancel replays, double the size of the ticket. Smaller bar means really get in heavy. Boom. No trades from breakouts. Here's a trap. Your trap south. Breakout, but you've got to be aware of this. That's the buy zone. Here's a nice kind of trapped here a little bit, but very small bar. Clean break, goes into fresh territory. Sell at the market, sell at the market. 20 pip window of sell limits getting filled. I'd be long here for this, certainly. I got filled here on something. It's a good trade. Okay, I'm going to buy some more euro at the market here. It's 10 minutes before midnight. Let me buy some more euros. We just sold off. We just stop hunted again here. So unless you cashed out here, which I did not do that, this double bottom became a top. Once we filled this void, the sellers came in, and now we're going to buy at the market, and I'm putting limits in this whole time. Going to come in and buy now, and then I'm going to wait till 9 more minutes, and I'll buy some more. So I'm still going to run the 5 pip stops. 7, 8, 10, 12, 15. That's my highest risk trade. 15 to make 50. This is a good ratio. 12 to make 95. Okay, 560 now. See, I could have held out on the adding the $100 of margin there and just bought more on the pullback. There's plenty of drama on this currency. If you trade it big enough, I don't have to trade another currency really, but you could. Okay, so what else do we got here? Okay, so let's see here. There's not much I can do with this. I'm going to wait until the 15-minute traders. They just took out this guy's stop now. So we bought more here, and I got filled on some limits. So I bought this kind of breakout that was trapped, came back to the structure. Sellers come in, take it down, make a new low, a bigger reaction. Didn't take out this yet, so we got limits all the way down. I put all these in. 8 hours. I can let this thing go. Got 8 hours to fill that. Okay, we're only down $53 now. So we're down $83 here when this came back. Now I'm going to put in some really nice greedy risk. 12 to make 95. This 7 to make 22. This is a good. Here's an 8 to make 55. 8 pips to make 55. I'll do that. So I'll put a 10K in there. All right, I'm done buying. It looks like we're going to close up here. So on the half hour, we had the signal to buy because we were down on the half hour. On the half hour, it's more obvious that we took out these wicks in this pocket. We took out those stops. Okay, it's going to be, it's 6 minutes before midnight, and I'm done buying. If they go down, I will automatically buy, and they'll probably stop me out of some of this stuff. I'll pick up some limits. It's kind of a breakfast blend. I don't have a hard origin bean. Breakfast blends worked out for quite a bit of time. Chock full of nuts. Flavored coffee. Espresso's harsh. See, that's like trading a standard lot espresso. Drinking this god awful Starbucks right now. It's different every time you go there. They did a pour over for me that was so hard it was like espresso. So I always get a grande and a venti cup, and the girls, some people don't know what a grande is, so people that work there don't know, so it's always different every time. So when I put my cream in there, I'm trying to gauge it. I look at the tint. I want to get a chromatic reader. Get more scientific about how I'm going to blend the coffee before I leave Starbucks. Get it like, oh, that's just the right amount of tan, the right amount of cream. Then they had this new blend called Siren. Really? How about Bloodbath? Like, what? Where'd they come up with these names for these coffees? It's called Siren. Like a police siren? I don't even know where they come up with this stuff. Look at this chop up here. Look at this thing. Well, they're manipulating the market, can't you see? Son, you don't even know. They're manipulating the markets. What are you, retarded? You knew that. So, a lot of zigzags here. Triple bottom. Quadruple bottom becomes a top. Is this the rollover? Are we going to tank? You could say we are. Did you sell here? This is a good trade for half an hour, for an hour. Look at all the trades in here. It just never ends, does it? The pullback. Here comes the bulls. Make it to here. More buyers. More buy. Uh-oh. Is it falling apart? Go to the 1 hour chart. So we're 3 minutes from midnight. Here we only have a triangle that we break out of here. This is interesting. Nice tight triangle we spill out of. Bottom becomes a top. Kind of distribution. I certainly got out. As soon as we got in this territory, we took out the high from 3 days ago. Everybody went short there. Obviously. The funny thing is these ICT people, they got all that fucking data on the chart with the 15-minute chart. Look at the high on the 1 hour. Look at the reaction. People are selling that. Come back to the confirmation breakout, guys. Trying to go long. Nope. Got to come all the way back here. How about that? Then another. Take out the high yesterday just by a little bit. In Asia here. So we cashed out of something here, but barely. Again, coming back. As soon as this is down, I buy because it's down on the hour. That's my strategy. It's as simple as that. And if it's down here in 2 more minutes, I'm going to buy more at the market because it's down on the hour. I'm a bull. It's a pullback. I'm not going to judge the 618 of it. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to judge it like that. A very loose judgment. So here we go. 1 minute left. I'll get out my second hand watch. There's 5 seconds between candles. So there's no data for 5 seconds. It doesn't paint. It's blocked off on the other candle. So we got 20 seconds left. Actually, you got 10 seconds before 5 seconds before the top of the hour, and then you'll see it. So you're going to see the rollover coming here in 2 seconds. Okay, now we just closed out that, and the new candle starts right now. So there's a gap there. Boom. Now look at the reaction here. This is midnight. There was a FXCM account I had that had a 12-hour chart that literally went from noon to noon, from midnight to noon. And I just started trading forex. I'd never seen it before. And I'm looking at this candle. I didn't even have a template. It was just the green and the red candle. And I'm laying in bed, and those charts were all stretchable. They were always in this mode where you could stretch it out like this and look at just the drill down to the last few bars. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, it turns on a dime at midnight, goes the other way. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Of course, this didn't happen all the time, but I thought, that is strange. For all the data I've seen in my life, it's always been end of the day or 1 hour chart, or 9-minute chart, 45-minute chart. And I'm like, look at this thing. Up and down. What is going on here? It's almost like it's just a shift. Today it's up, next day it's down. I'm like, there's got to be some way to gauge this thing. Look at them smash this down. So I will buy more if we finish out we're slightly down here. I got limits, so they're going to fill my limits. It looks like they're going to go for another stop hunt on the bulls here. I'm going to let them fill. I put some 25. I put some 18 pip stops in, but I want to be in $1,000 a margin by the time London opens. And we could still pull back. So I did leave enough dry powder to fill, get us to $1,000 a margin. And so you got 3 hours. We could go down here for 3 hours straight. So now I'm really going to load up. I'm going to put about 30K pending below me. 2 to 18 pips deep. 6 pips deep. Back to down $80. Now I'm down $88. Down more because I bought another $80 of margin. Now I'm down 94. Now I'm expecting a fast sell-off into my limits. Gotta get this vicious move here because they're coming up on this critical. The deepest vacuum is here. So punch down in that. See how many limits I can get in. I'm also waiting for 5 minutes past midnight. That is a big deal. So we go to the 5-minute chart now. Take a look at that. I'm about to take out this. We just took out that low. So in 5 minutes, I'll be buying this new low. In 2 minutes, waiting for this 5-minute chart to update. So see, the sellers came in here at the double bottom on the 5. Never got a higher high here. It just keeps melting. Took this out. The scalpers bought this until it came to here and they dumped. Now they sold again, and we are going to buy this plunge. In 1 minute, I'm going to buy at the market with tight and medium stops. And hopefully they're going to fill these limits. They start right here. These are the 8-hour limits. Because I had some 15-minute, 30 minutes, but I know they've expired. Okay. Now we're dropping down here. I got 25 seconds. I'll be pulling the trigger at the market. I don't want to chase it if it reverses. I think I'm in just the right amount of margin. I still got about $420 I could invest, so to speak. Okay, I think the stop hunt. They're just grabbing it there. Boom. I'm going to buy at the market now. I think I'm going to buy 15K here. Stop, 5 tight stops. 7 pips. 7 to make 22. 7 to make 7. 5 to make 55. 5 to make 33. 5 to make 18. 5 to make 14. There. All right. So that's all I can do for this market. That's all I've got in my toolbox. We're only down $80 now. Now we got to let that bake. So I won't add on to this. I will put some more limits in though. So I'm accumulating this drift down. Or maybe it's a meltdown. Like last night, but that's right. Back to $6,400. Not in as heavy as before. Let's take a look at that. The 1 hour chart. We're looking to take out this low here too. I guess think this is but we did what we had to do on that 5-minute chart. Now, hopefully it's going to come down here. I think it just filled me. I just saw my margin jump up. So we just got filled on a bunch of tickets that are layered here. You can't tell, but I duplicated some prices here. So here it's going to get into another $50 a margin, I think. We're down 89 now. I don't know if we got stopped out or anything. I didn't watch my balance. If the balance changes, we're getting stopped out. I'm accumulating in like a 18 pip range. Okay, it looks like we're reversing there a little bit. I don't think I have anything else I'm trading though. This is why I only trade one currency at a time, because if I see my equity change, I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. The broker's trying to rip me off. So there's nothing but euros in here. Okay. Nothing else I can do there. We may never see this price, but I'm certainly prepared to buy it. So this is different because you can hardly see the spread here at this point. So I'm really getting in. In this, what it looks to me to be a consolidation. So this is the next target is to start taking out this top. The sellers are up on this window. Anybody that sold into that above that wick, they're up on that trade. They're still winning at the moment. They sold up there for the scalp. And they can't wait till this gets taken out, and then they would probably buy back, and I would start buying more here even. I will. Because I've already got those for 8 hours pending. Every time I click it, it's exactly 8 hours. So as you're clicking it, the one that you clicked 4 hours ago has 4 hours left. On and on. You're just kind of tracking along with the market. And I did buy at the market, so those are my, I think the market orders have a black arrow. You know, we're all hoping that this gets triggered. to buy more, but that might be it. I still will dump. If in 3 hours from now we're screaming up, I do have that. I will just automatically be getting in on those shallow targets, but to me it looks like this is the 4-hour chart, and this is a big turnaround moment here. This double bottom, it was the turnaround here, so that is the big line of scrimmage. That's going to be amazing. And tons of sellers up here again and here, and then here where you really have to sell really more than you sold here and more than you sold here. If you're looking for it to come back to, okay, so if it goes like this, you would suspect it's going to come back to possibly here, but it doesn't have to, because when it gets to here, if it can make it back to here, or when it gets to here, it can make it back to this level. So it just kind of, the whole thing turns around. Okay, so the market's going up. We're up only down $72 now. I want to look at the 5-minute chart here, because we just updated it. It's 10 minutes after the hour. That 5-minute window before and after the hour is very volatile in comparison. And see, we got to go and do this drill down now. And it's very slow because there's so many tickets in there that the graphics is being burdened by all these tickets. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Come on. Oh, this fucking recorder. All right. There you go. That is the actual. Here is midnight. This is 5 minutes after midnight. We're supposed to have sellers coming at this bottom to continue down. It's not happening. There's pressure building up here. This is a kind of a nice gentle sell-off. Here's the on the 5-minute chart, this is the winning entry. As we grab, drift up, fill that void. Now we got to start piling north. So I don't think I'm going to buy anymore. Maybe I'd buy a couple clicks here. But $600 is pretty good. We can also come in with the buy limits after it goes up. So I did that last night. It was very profitable. I had the 2 and 6, these, 3 and 4K trailing 8-hour limits, very tight limits as the market's going up. So any kind of pullbacks, I could buy more. So I have that right now. I could put it in the trailing buy limits that are very tight, and I already got all that exposure for the next 8 hours below to possibly get filled on limits. So not going to touch it. What has to happen here, which did happen here, where this bottom got rejected on the 5 minutes, so comes up and then it goes after that because the sellers did not come in there. They failed. The sellers need to fail at this, and they did. The sellers need to fail at that, and they did. So the failure is my win, is they can't hold this. All these ways people talk about, they can't hold it down, or it's just not happening. It's not a they, them. The bankers aren't trading against the retail traders. They're just trading, and you're trading alongside them sometimes. It's not. They're not trading against you. They're not out to get you. I think we've fulfilled the 30-minute crush into the deepest vacuum on the chart, which was here. We never quite made it to here, but we came damn close. We could still keep going down, though. I could still keep dripping down tonight. Okay, so 15-minute charts are going to update now. So we'll go to the 15. Only looking back a half a day. Okay, there's a hammer on the last 15. We got to take out that high from 15 minutes ago and start engulfing. Start clearing out these stops from the bears. Make new highs, higher highs. Okay, 20 seconds left to update the 15-minute chart. If we take out that high, then I'm going to just go to sleep again and let it cook. It's a new month. It could be a big short squeeze on the euro into the end of the year. It could be the end of the dollar for a while. If gold keeps going north, you can't necessarily make those claims about dollar yen, although the dollar yen's precariously sitting in front of this huge abyss. This could be a dead cat bounce, and once you go to the monthly dollar yen, it's like no reason why it can't keep tanking. If it ever gets into this territory, yikes, right? I mean, that could happen. You could be banging up against the support by the end of the year there, possibly. These are all just speculations that I would never trade. Dollar yen. I mean, the dollar Swiss is just kind of trapped in the middle there. Pretty boring. All right, we just updated that 15-minute chart. So we got a hammer here. We just about to take out the high of the last 15. We got to go after this high, and then I think I can. There's nothing else I can do about it. I'm not going to buy anymore. No confirmation entry here. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to add to a winner. I really hate adding to a winner. That's something that's always never worked for me. It's like the expectations go up, the risk goes up. It has to go up now if I buy. Really has to go up. Where I'm kind of, if I bought 20% of the market and got filled 80% of limits, I consider that to be the ultimate, because I'm getting in a little bit, just to be in it and let it get in as fat as it needs to get in based on the rest of that happening at a better price. But sometimes you don't get it, so that 20%, you only fill 30% on your limits, and you're in a 50% of the position you wanted to be in. You can't always be in the exact size you want to be in either, even if you get the direction right. And when you scale out, you're compromising because you're not holding the whole thing. You could accumulate the whole thing and take off a little bit and then dump the whole thing so you accumulate the pullback here. Once we get to that target, I will dump the whole thing, even if I'm not at my targets, because I put that 95 pip target in there as kind of like, well, just in case it goes nuts. Just like people put in wide stops in case, what if it goes nuts? I still want to retain some of this position. So the all or nothing thinkers are saying, well, but dude, you got stopped out, and I'm risking 2% of the account, and I back tested it, and it just fucking doesn't work. Yeah, but if you're partially in it, and you're down, you just lost $200, and you make back 50, you're only down 150 now. Nobody's going to back test that because it's so intricately sized that it doesn't have to do with whether you got the direction right. It's whether you're down $10 or down $1,000, because if you're wrong and you're in lightly, you're not going to notice. If you're in big and you're wrong with a wide stop on that whole order bank, on that whole inventory, then you're going to really notice it. Okay, so we're going to let this go. I'm not even going to buy here, which is considered to be pretty good if you look at the 1 hour chart. It looks like a perfect place to buy, but no, I already got filled down here. I bought for 2 hours. Okay, I bought for 2 hours on that. This was a shallow pullback, so I could have bought more with a tighter stop. And I did. I bought more there. There was more trades on the half hour. Buy, don't buy, buy, and don't buy. In about, I'm not going to stay up for this, but in 40 minutes we're going to update the whole 4-hour chart. It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning, and the 4-hour chart will update. And I've locked in a pullback entry. It'll be locked in. If the market, which it could end up it could close higher than it did at 9 o'clock, and then you know for certain that buying on limits was the thing to do, and buying on the 1-hour pullbacks, because there's no chance to get on the 4-hour train if you're waiting for a pullback, and that's your strict criteria for entering is that it has to be down on the 4-hour for me to buy. And of course, if it's really down big, 150 pips on the 4-hour, maybe you have to buy with a 75 pip stop. If it's down 35 pips on the 4-hour, you're buying with a 15 pip stop. It only makes sense to size your stop to what has just happened, because the market's constantly changing dynamic range, and going back 10 bars on a 4-hour chart is plenty of look back as far as referencing the move. But there's no hard rule, because if there was, you'd build a robot with a hard rule and you'd run it on everything, and you would never lose. The market doesn't have. The market's just too scatterbrained, too randomly. It's randomly volatile. It's inconsistently volatile. So let's see what happens. That's it. All right. So good luck with that. I'm going to ride this guy into all these exits up here, you can see, and hopefully we're going to pull another get another $500 out of this account as we go up into this. It's not that far. This is only 25 pips from here to here, so we're only looking to make like 14 pips on some of these tickets. It's not a very greedy trade, I don't think. The euro can move a lot, but it's not. This is I know it's hard to believe this is not the guppy, but this is 100 pips from here to here. So yeah, last night you could have made a nice 30 pips spilling out of that, but then you got to really get in here, because this is where you make the 50 pips, and it'll go sideways. If we trip this wire here, we'll make another 20 pips. Huge sellers up here, huge sellers up there. I do have the take profits way up in the ozone there. But, if I'm up $1,000 by the time we get to here, I'm not sticking around to let these guys fill. I'm just going to dump the whole thing and then stream buy limits below, because we'll probably get a pullback. I can't imagine the market's going to move in a straight line. So there's a lot of guarantees in the market. Markets don't move in a straight line. They don't trade sideways forever, and they don't go up and down forever. So that's what you're building around, stuff like that. You're trying to build a building on a piece of earth that's having random earthquakes. All right, so that's it. Okay, so we're just going to have to let this thing bake.